right, how's everybody doing this afternoon? As you see, we've taken down our barriers, and I absolutely hate it. I want the barriers back. Whoever did that, Vince, if it was your call, you're in trouble. Good. So let the record show we called this regular board meeting to order at 3 p.m. on February 21st, 2023. Thank you all for being here. From the outset, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know I'm going to run a pretty tight meeting as we have a pretty long public hearing. So, Commissioners, I plan for us to get through the complete general business agenda by 4:30, 4:45, so we can take a break at 5 and then be back in here at 6 for the public hearing. We'll start at the top of the agenda with the pledge and invocation, which will be given by Reverend Wright. And you wanted to introduce Reverend Wright, Madam Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Fellow commissioners, county administrator, and all of those that are present here today, we are honored and blessed to have Reverend Dr. Joseph T. Wright here this afternoon. He's a proud pastor of the historic Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church. It's on Lake Bradford Road here in Tallahassee. Reverend Dr. Wright is very involved in the community. He's the president of the Tallahassee Ministerial Alliance. He is well known across Florida and across the nation as a problem solver, a fighter for the oppressed, and as a courageous and committed servant of the Lord. So as Reverend Wright comes to the podium, or he's at the podium, let us please stand as he provides the invocation.
Reverend Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, and thank you so much, Commissioner Cummings, for the invite. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we gather today at this hour to engage in deliberations as it enhances the community we serve. Thank you for every commissioner, county administrator, and staff. Grant us peace and wisdom to say and to do that which is pleasing in your sight. Dear Lord, while they are away handling county business, bless their families as well in a very special way. Let no evil of any kind, incidents or accidents, come upon the families, not only on our commissioners, but these who are sitting around listening. And we want to give you glory and the praise for everything that is said and done. And our Lord, the Christ, and the people of God said amen.
Amen. Thank you. Mr. Cummings.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. We're going to start off the agenda with awards and presentations. Next, if someone representative from the United Way of the Big Bend will meet me at the lectern, and we'll be recognizing their 80th year anniversary. Thank you. All right. Proclamation reads, whereas on February 11, 1943, 9 concerned citizens chartered the United Way of Leon County for the purpose of raising and distributing funds for charitable and character-building agencies. And whereas in 1990, United Way of Leon County broadened its scope to incorporate 7 neighboring counties and change the name of to the United Way of the Big Bend. And whereas United Way over the past 80 years has remained true to its founding goals to support human service programs in the Big Bend region, to help those living in poverty and the Alice population, and to create collaborative strategies that result in long-lasting positive change. And whereas United Way of the Big Bend is a trusted leader for addressing our community's most vital concerns and incorporating the root and impacting the root causes of poverty, focusing on creating access to attainable housing and safe neighborhoods, steady, affordable, and quality child care, early education and literacy, providing consistent safety net services during times of financial stress, focusing on access to affordable health and mental health services, and promoting and assisting in developing skills to meet future employment needs. And whereas United Way of the Big Bend continues the mission of raising awareness, mobilizing resources, and finding collaborative, targeted solutions to support families, individuals, and a thriving community through leadership, accountability, integrity, focus, and respect. Now, therefore, be proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Leon County, Florida, that Saturday, February 11, 2023, be known as United Way of the Big Bend Day in Leon County, to encourage all citizens to continue to support United Way of the Big Bend in efforts to help their neighbors so that we may all enjoy a high quality of life in Tallahassee now and into the future. This is signed by myself, as well as the rest of the commission, and attested to by the county administrator. Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable County Commissioners, Mr. County Administrator, thank you for this recognition today. On behalf of our United Way of the Big Bend Board of Directors, I would like to say thank you. Joining me today is our Chairman of the Board of Directors, Eric Davis, our immediate past Chairman, Dr. Jim Murdaugh, Lisa Garcia, who serves on our Board of Directors, and Wanda Hunter, and I want to thank them for joining us today. Also, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thanks to each of you for the work you do every single day and how you address the impacts of those that live in poverty and those that edge of poverty. We appreciate that partnership. I think that 80 years that we're celebrating our anniversary, I would say that for 80 years we've been lockstep with the county commission and your team working on these efforts. Your team is phenomenal. We have a great relationship with your team, and we thank you and thank them for the work that they do. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege right now and just say many of you know how the Leon County Commission has a special place in my heart and my family's heart. So to be here today accepting this on behalf of the United Way of the Big Bend is an extreme honor. Thank you.
Let me get a picture. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. We have a couple more proclamations, I believe, to be presented by Commissioner Proctor, but he's busy, so Commissioner Proctor, if you want me to present those for you, I most certainly will.
Appreciate your earnestness, but these are so special to my heart. It would faint if you disallowed me to do so.
All right, put your papers down. Come on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cummings, Madam Vice Chair, can you call up the next?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, commissioners, citizens at home, we thank you for your being here today. Our first honoree with proclamation will be Mrs. Altamise Barnes. Mrs. Barnes, if you would come, family members or any persons of your board that would stand with you, welcome you at this time. You like me, a one person. Commissioners, I'm really excited to present this proclamation to Ms. Barnes. And Chairman was reared up. He usually don't like to read the small print, but he was reared up, Ms. Barnes, because it was you.
If you would let me take it, I was going to take it.
No, I know you get the ball and run it, but I want to keep this one on the quarterback sneak. I just want to say, Ms. Barnes, that a lot has been said in Florida about history, and in particular African-American history. But from a community perspective, non-institutional, over the years, you have been a leader in the charge to be the curator of history in our community. And we thank you. I want to say to this commission that before there was a formal black banker, if you will, in Tallahassee, before there was a bank officer who was black, Mr. Moses Pemberton was a person who you would likely want to get to know if you were banking in the Lewis State Bank. Very quiet man, dignified man, but he was the man that opened, closed, maintained the bank's premises, and he was there almost about 24/7. And if you wanted to get a loan in them days, you were wise, Brother Baba, to try to get to know Mr. Pemberton to get a word in to the folk who could make a decision for you. That's kind of how it went down. So glad I've known you all my life and all of those things. Our proclamation simply reads, whereas Altamis Barnes, a native of Tallahassee, who worked for the state of Florida for 30 years, and I need to say that I interned under Ms. Barnes in the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Labor about, 10, 12 years ago. Okay, I thought so. She began her life's work in 1996 of January with the opening of the John Gilmore Riley Center and Museum. And whereas understanding the significance of African American preservation, Mrs. Barnes realized the importance of building a linkage throughout the state of Florida that would become the Florida African Heritage Preservation Network. And whereas today, the Florida African Heritage Preservation Network serves as an informational and technical assistance resource in response to a growing interest in preserving Florida's African American culture, that of the African diaspora. And whereas because Altamis Barnes became known for her passion and expertise in the storytelling of Florida's African American history, she was charged with directing research and publications of 28 books and documentaries. And whereas Mrs. Barnes has been honored with accolades throughout her tenure as director of the museum, many of her efforts have been realized by the preservation of local historical places such as the Frenchtown Marker Trail, Hickory Hill, Monroe and Green Cemeteries, Cascade Heritage Trail, and Civil Rights Wall, FAMU Way Historical Trail, and Smoky Hollow Commemoration. And whereas Mrs. Barnes retired as a director in 2020, but continues as executive director emeritus, she once said, "Examining the past helps us understand the present and is a foundation of intelligence. I feel strongly that we must look back to move forward in a more positive way. Focus, tenacity, and faith have been central to my journey," end quote. Now, therefore, we, the Leon County Board of County Commissioners, do honor Mrs. Altamis Barnes, dated this 21st day of February. It's signed by all 7 county commissioners. It is attested to by our county administrator, Mrs. Barnes. God knows we thank you for the legacy and the body of work which distinguishes your name. God bless you.
To the chairman, other county commissioners, staff, and to longtime administrator Vince Long. We've known each other for quite a while. And I will just say, if you ever travel out Centerville Road and see a road that says Pemberton Road, that was named for the family that Commissioner Proctor referenced. And another thing, just so people know, education is not always the all in all. My father completed 3rd grade. He had to drop out in order to help care for the family when his father passed. But he spent 42 years at Lewis State Bank, and as Proctor said, people when he passed still owed money back to Lewis State Bank, a few that he thought he could vouch for. So anyway, just wanted to share that. I would also want to thank all of you for the support through the years. My staff, is that me? These staff, I'm emeritus, is busy getting ready for the 4th graders. We're in Blended Lives now, where we bring every 4th grader to our property. So they did it last week, they will do it this week, and 2 days in March. We have a motto at Riley that to forget the past denies present and future generations a heritage and foundation for hope. And if we would just sink our minds into that. That's what Riley is all about. And I'm going to give the administrator a copy of our network annual report. We do a report every year for the 30 museums that we serve across the state. And we are working hard in the legislature, and Andy Johnson is helping us. Thank you all so much. And the last thing I would say, you set the history straight when it comes to May 20th, 1865. Because of the holiday that was granted by this commission, we now have other cities and counties that have passed resolutions and are doing their celebrations at home. Now, unfortunately, that's going to take some of the revenue away because they won't be coming here to stay in the hotels. But we still have some coming. But they followed your lead. You set the history straight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to say, Ms. Barnes, you hosted the National Museum Curators a few years ago.
Yeah.
And there were friends that I met attending that who I remain good, close friends too. And will you be doing, y'all be doing that again?
We're doing it in May.
This coming May, here in Dallas? Oh, great, I'll be there. Hold on, we got to take a picture right here. All right. In the words of Michael Jackson, I'll be there. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Exactly. Ms. Barnes, I want to thank you so much for what you've done for our community. I was listening to a Bible discussion about Exodus the other day, and one of the most important verses I've heard to, I think, the Jewish people is when Pharaoh, it speaks of Pharaoh not knowing of Joseph, and his response to his people, to Joseph's people, was because he did not know what Joseph had done for his people. And when I think about what you do for us and the history that you keep alive, you make sure that we know time and time again what the people who've been here before us has done for us as a community. And you are indeed a community asset and will always be. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And I know you will continue to do it. And if there's anything you ever need from us, we're here. Thank you. Commissioner Proctor. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Barnes, I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I want to congratulate Commissioner Proctor for the proclamation. A brilliant idea, Ms. Barnes. I know it says emeritus on paper, but you're still working with us and continue to, and we wouldn't want it any other way. A couple years ago, if you remember, I think folks here probably remember, we worked with you to get another appropriation from the state for the Florida African American Heritage Preservation Network. And last month, at the last meeting we unanimously agreed to work with you again on getting that another appropriation through the legislature. So looking forward to doing that. As Commissioner Proctor has said, I mean, our history is incredibly important, and now probably more than ever. So very happy to be working with you on that, and looking forward to having Mr. Johnson update us on the progress for that appropriation request. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Proctor will come back and give out another proclamation recognizing Merle Dawson from FAMU Black Archives for her efforts as the custodian of African American culture.
Dr. Dawson, if you would come forward, and those persons who would stand with you are welcome to come. I'm going to ask if Dean Matthews would please come too, and Meow. Mr. Chairman, I got to put on 2 pairs of glasses, make sure I read all these words. My boss is here, Dr. Matthews, and I want to make sure I don't stumble up here in front of Dr. Matthews.
I think we need to check with Chastity and make sure this isn't a ethics violation giving out awards to your boss. Chastity, good, ain't it?
Thank you, Chastity. You're sweet.
Based
All
on
right.
information provided, yes.
This many people right here coming to this right here gives us some idea of her meaning to many. And whereas this proclamation reads, Elizabeth Merrill Dawson, a native of Jacksonville, has dedicated her life to ensuring minority groups are included in historical narratives, events, interpretations, and programs relating to American history. And whereas Dr. Dawson is a research associate and senior archivist at the Carrie Meek James N. Eaton Senior Southeastern Regional Black Archives Research Center and Museum, located on the campus of Florida A&M University. I knew you were going to do that, Darrell Jones. And whereas Mrs. Dawson was instrumental in Florida A&M University campus being designated as a National Historic District and also responsible for 8 historic state of Florida markers located on FAMU's campus and throughout Leon County. And whereas Mrs. Dawson earned a bachelor's and a master's degree from FAMU and a PhD from Florida State University, for more than a decade, she directed the Eaton Center, its operations, and was credited for overseeing the construction of its $7 million expansion facility, which opened in 2006. And whereas Dr. Dawson, her knowledge of African American history in the South has not gone unnoticed, her expertise is highly requested in the areas of women's history, archives, and museum management and public history education. And whereas Dr. Dawson is especially proud of her role in FAMU and the Eaton Center being invited as an inaugural member of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture's Historically Black Colleges and Universities History and Culture Access Consortium, which is committed to supporting and making known the history and contributions of America's HBCUs. And whereas Dr. Elizabeth Murrell Dawson holds membership in numerous organizations, including Central CME Church, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., Capital City Garden Club, Ladies Art and Social Club, Association of African American Museums, and the FAMU National Alumni Association. Elizabeth, the youngest of 9 siblings, is the proud parent of daughter Regina and son Nicholas. Now, therefore, we, the Leon County Board of County Commissioners, do honor Elizabeth Murrell Dawson, dated this 21st day of February, 2023, signed by our 7 county commissioners and attested to by our county administrator, Mr. Vincent Long. Dr. Dawson, we honor you. We just can't thank you enough. And to God be the glory for all that you've rendered on your watch.
Chairman Maddox, other commission members, thank you so much for recognizing me in this way. Also to our county administrator. Also, thank y'all so much for all the work that you do and continue to do in our great community. Many people who know me know that I never come representing myself. I don't even like the words me, my, I. It's always us, our, and we. And so I have here to share this proclamation, members of my family, members of my community, and also members of the Meek Eaton Black Archives. So when you honor me, you honor your community. Thank you so much for this recognition.
Dr. Dawson, while you take that picture, thank you for your example of leadership. I think Good to Great signifies, talks about how the legacy of a leader is the organization after it leaves. Not only that, just seeing the fact that you believe in not just you doing it, but the whole team doing it means a lot to me coming from a team background. So we appreciate the leadership that you've shown. All right, next we have Mr. Tom Napier. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to take ask the chairman's permission to ask and present some information to Dr. Dawson that I would like for her to open
Please.
A record if you would afford me.
Yes, sir.
Members, you all can return to your seat. Dr. Dawson, because you're an institutional curator, I wanted to share documents with you, which I went back through some notes. The Reverend William Fouts and myself, in 2010, we filed a complaint with the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, and it seeks that the Justice Department would mandate the state of Florida to follow its state statutes passed in 1994. I won't read, but this complaint is tight, it's right. I wrote it. I want you to have that. I want to open a file that history will show the struggle with which citizens have gone through for Florida to teach African American history, not just AP, but history. I want also to share with you this copy from the New York Times, May 16th, May something of 1994, where the New York Times touts the signing that Florida has passed the Black History Bill. A copy of the original statute from 1994, which is the Florida Statute 1003.42, 2G, pertaining to African American history infusion curriculum, reads as follows. Members of the instructional staff of the public schools, subject to the rules and regulations of the commissioner, the state board, and the school board, shall teach efficiently and faithfully, using the books and materials required, following the prescribed courses of study, and employing approved methods of instruction, the following: the history of African Americans, including the history of African people before the political conflicts that led to the development of slavery, the passage to America, the enslavement experience, abolition, and the contributions of African Americans to society. This is the law. I want to make sure that the archives has this. I may not be here. And then I want you to take, this is the curriculum, African and African American studies, that citizens from around the state worked on. I was a member of this committee, and it states the action plan, the 5-year plan, beginning in fiscal year 95, 96, 96-7, 97, 98, and it has all of the elements that were spelled out as to what a competent curriculum for the school children, grades K through 12 in Florida. This is all intact. It's unadulterated. I'm asking you to maintain and please open a public file that the world and citizens might know some of these. And I'm gonna just hand you the rest of this. Reverend Fouts has many other documents, and we believe that the journey of African American history being told in Florida deserves to be chronicled in the Eton Museum. We thank you so much. God bless. All right.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Next, we have presenting Mr. Tom Napier will present an award recognizing Leon County ongoing support of Honor Flight. Commissioner Proctor, won't you receive that award for us?
You better stay with us, Commissioner.
I'm here.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I bring you tidings for Honor Flight Tallahassee. Matt Kemp, our chairman, couldn't make it this afternoon. He asked me to say a few words, say hello. And we'd like to let everybody know in October, we had one of the biggest crowd we had for the turnout, but we're going to be leaving April 29th on our next flight. That's 2.5 months away. We got over 87 veterans already applied. We had 67 volunteers applied, which is known as guardians. We got a lot of people helping. We just want to make sure we get off the ground. We take a 168-seat jet, one-day trip, and all veterans really enjoyed themselves. So I bid you tidings from Honor Flight. We have Commissioner Rick Miner went with us last time. We had a good time. He behaved himself sometimes, but I had to keep tabs on him because I'm responsible for everybody. I got 168 people to keep track of all day long, and that's my job. And he is one heck of a guy to keep following with me. But anyway, that not to do. I'd like to make a presentation to Commissioner Bill Proctor. Bill Proctor was chairman last year, and he had a great gratitude to go ahead and helped us a great deal to make honor flight get off the ground last year, April 23rd, 2022. Mr. Proctor, I'd like you to open this up for me. If you hear it ticking, we better leave.
We hear it ticking, we'll give it to Commissioner Minor. Oh, yes. You see that? Take it on well. Can you read it?
Want my glasses?
No, you want to read it?
Honor Flight Tallahassee represents appreciation with Commissioner Bill Proctor, Leon County Commission. It's real nice. Paperweight for him. We have a letter from Matt Kemp. We'd like to him, Commissioner, read that to him, please.
This right here?
Well, I forgot, Commissioner Brown Welch went with us last time too, and he had a good time. Did you not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I've been asked to read this letter to Chairman Bill Proctor of December 28, 2022. Dear Chairman Proctor, we wanted to take the time to sincerely thank you for your support of Honor Flight Tallahassee. Your ongoing support has helped us achieve our goals of honoring our war veterans for over 10 years now. You've taken the time to acknowledge the service and sacrifice of these veterans from so long ago meant more than you can possibly imagine. We're working on our next flight with 80 more veterans, and it will happen on Saturday, April 29th, 2023. We hope that we might see you again on that day. We hope that you have a great new year, and we want to thank you for all you do every day for our veterans. Sincerely, Matt Kemp, Chairman, and signed by Chairman Kemp, Honor Flight Tallahassee Board of Directors. Ms. Napier, thank y'all. Like Dr. Dawson said, the word me, my, and I is not popular in my vocabulary, but we, us, and our, it is. And it's we, us, and our commission that has extended our support to your efforts to honor our veterans. You should know that veterans are special to me because my daddy was one and drafted twice in the United States Army. So I don't have an Army outfit, but I do have Army blood. It's on the inside of me. So we thank you all. Thank you all for sharing this. And I hope the county attorney allows me to, can I keep this, county attorney?
Can you keep it?
Memento. Okay, good. All right. Let's get a picture here, man. Look at here. I don't want to start crying in here in front of everybody.
Congratulations, Commissioner Proctor. Mr. Immediate Past Chairman.
She ain't got no film in the camera. All right.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Napier. Next, we'll have up our sheriff. Present Leon County Sheriff's Host Deputy Program. Mr. Sheriff.
Okay, I'm with you. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Napier. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, and Mr. Long, you all gave me a Herculean task several months ago. You asked that we engage with 2 deputies that were put in our budget to assist with addressing the issues of homelessness in our community. This past 6 months have been with some ups and downs, you might say, particularly trying to get a grasp of this population. The first order of business for us was trying to make sure we organized ourselves around the issues. We selected the deputies and went about hiring those deputies did specific training with those deputies in terms of what those populations look like, identifying both homelessness and unsheltered as populations. We got into our communities and tried to maintain some level of networking with the various social service organizations and trying to garner some ability to deal with the incarcerated persons who are coming in out of our detention facility. The outcomes of those efforts are as follows. Our first order of business was trying to figure out a guide for the unsheltered and develop ways in which we could have outreach and specifically outcomes. The deputies then integrated themselves, working in a coordinated way with the Big Bend Continuum of Care in an effort to summarize and identify the gaps that were provided in the services in our community. They went about collaboration, and there are some, I look at this list, there are some 12 organizations that we interacted with. We interacted with, partnered with the City of Tallahassee Emergency Assessment Mobility Team. We engaged with the local media. We engaged with communities, with an outreach in all the communities across our community as we could. Focused on specific geographic locations. Connected individuals with intervention services, mental health services. We coordinated with our warrants unit to make sure that we were looking at evictions and pre-evictions to make sure that we had education protocols going on as well. And we connected with the unsheltered persons and unemployment issues. The results are as follows. We had 472 contacts with persons who were homeless. Of those 472, 271 became our focus group in terms of our focus on the unsheltered. 183 of those persons contacted were individuals contacted multiple times by our host unit. And here's the breakdown of the persons we made contact with and the demographics. 70% of those persons were male, 30% were female, 90% were between the ages of 25 and 64, 30% were between the ages of 55 and 64, 62% were white, 32% were black, 2% were Hispanic, and 3% didn't give us their identifiers. 8% reported to be military veterans. 39% were Leon Tallahassee. They identified Leon Tallahassee as their home of origin. 96% reported having sought housing solutions. And over half of those reporting having sought housing solutions resided at what we call campsites in our community. And 8.5% reported using a shelter as their primary place of lodging. The host services provided by our deputies broke out as follows. Approximately 231 host contacts were made with persons willing to accept services and the conditions that were provided for them. Service referrals were given to 210 of the 271 individuals. 98 individuals received assistance through education and or transportation assistance. We placed 7 individuals and 1 family of 8 in permanent housing through our host assistance. We assisted housing referrals, assistance and housing referrals were most commonly followed by mental health referrals. Only 40 host contacts refused any assistance as we interacted with them. Hosts addressed complaints related to public indecency, camping, trash, human waste, We deployed and responded to complaints of urination on 2 occasions. On 2 other occasions, we deployed and responded to complaints of indecent exposure. There were a total of 20 calls downtown placed during the placed by citizens about homeless persons hanging out in the downtown area. We contacted approximately 75 other businesses, including 5 Walmarts, the downtown established businesses, houses of worship, libraries, and property management companies. Host also went on to provide assistance to Uniform Patrol. We disseminated information to our deputies and other law enforcement agencies about what we were doing, provided guidance to those agencies as it relates to how our host unit worked and what we were trying to accomplish. The utilization of our Spirit platform, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's a platform by which we enter all of the service providers in our community. We educated our partners in that process. 67 calls were referred to from our host unit to Uniform Patrol, as we wanted to make sure that our host unit were not primarily the persons engaged in making the arrest, because we were trying to build rapport and a relationship with those persons. But when we did find ourselves in those situations, we referred those calls to patrol. 47 individuals were diverted into the criminal justice system. That is, we made arrests. The total numbers here I'll give you as I close in terms of our law enforcement efforts. The local criminal justice history research as relates to our host efforts, 267 host contacts were made between 11/29 and 11/29 of 22. Of that, 162 of the 667 host contacts had a local criminal history. 13 of the 267 host contacts, or 5%, were incarcerated at the Leon County Detention Facility at the time this data was pulled. 41 of the 267 host contacts had a total of 56 arrests in Leon County between, June 20th, 22 and 11/29 of 22. The number of arrests ranged from 1 to 3, with an average of 2 arrests for those homeless persons. 15 of the 267 host contacts have been arrested in Leon County for trespassing between that's June 20th, 22, and 11/29 of 22. 14 individuals had 1 trespass warning, and 1 individual had 2 trespass warnings. Commissioners, our deputies have tried to untangle a very complex issue. And as I said when we first approached this issue, that I did not believe that law enforcement is quite honestly the answer to addressing this very difficult problem that exists not only here in Leon County, but across our nation. We have looked at what some of the other agencies across the country have engaged in, and we understand too that there's a desire to deal with the panhandling issues, and I think we've shared from a law enforcement perspective the difficulties in dealing with panhandling and the constitutional aspects of persons having the right to engage in a roadway. But we did come back with a few recommendations we believe to be salient and perhaps moving us in the right direction. We believe, first, that the host officers or deputies are in fact making significant difference. I've received several testimonials from citizens in our community relative to the importance that they see in host. And there have been businesses in the downtown area who voiced the same desire, that the coordination that exists between our host deputies and the community is making some significant headway. Obviously, as I said before, we are not necessarily the answer. So we recommend that we continue the pilot, as I call it, and make it perhaps part of our complement of deputies. Due to the number of citizens facing housing insecurities in Leon County, coupled with those waiting on waiting lists to receive services, it is recommended that we can improve our coordination of dealing with the homeless and or the unsheltered. We believe that it is important to establish a relationship, a formal relationship of some type with a number of the faith-based organizations in our community. Again, as I spoke with and continue to try to grapple with this issue, I continue to hear faith-based communities saying they'd like to help, but not always understanding exactly how to engage, given the fact of separation of state and church and those kind of issues. The last thing I want to say here is the recommendation is to identify additional ways to market the availability of landlord risk mitigation. And one of the things that we found, I didn't know initially, was that some of these properties that these camps are on, that there is an ordinance that deals with those in some fashion or form. And I believe an education campaign related to identifying those spots and getting with those landowners to make sure that they understand they have a responsibility to clean those locations up when they do in fact occur in our community. Commissioners, I know this perhaps is not the answer to the questions and the problems and issues that you seek. I also understand that you've got to make some decisions going forward. I continue to say that wresting our ways out of this problem is not the preferred method, but I, too, have sworn an oath to the Constitution and the states and the laws of our community. And if you were to enact an ordinance that moved in those directions, I would be required by law to follow. But I will tell you, it would be difficult, given the fact that I did mention that our detention facility, your detention facility, is right at the maximum point, and I certainly would not want to put that burden of arresting persons for defecations and other minor violations onto our system. So I will yield, and if there are any questions that you might have. By the way, before we will give you this report. As you can probably hear, there are still some tweaks that I need to do. I haven't seen the entire report. Before I give it to you, I need to make sure that it says and is clearly identifies exactly what we're trying to do. But I will yield and see if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Commissioners, you will get one bite at the apple here, and that is it. I mean every bit of that. Commissioner Proctor, followed by Commissioner O'Keefe, followed by Commissioner Minor, and then Commissioner Caban. Commissioner Proctor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, there's no doubt that our sheriff is a man of compassion, that he concludes by telling us that we cannot arrest our way out of the homelessness which abounds across our community, that arresting people is not a solution. Yet, Commissioners, I'm not really satisfied that the very comprehensive, in-depth report made by the sheriff puts me any closer to a desire to want to pull the trigger to enact ordinances, which he asked us to hit the brakes, hold up, let him investigate some things. I don't hear a definitive recommendation of the sheriff telling us to go forward with an ordinance. And he's given us the data of what has been looked at by his unit. Do we pull the trigger Do we kick this can down the road? Of these areas of complaint, from camping to trash to indecency and all of those things, the sheriff did not utilize, I didn't hear him utilize the category of, I don't know if loitering is against the law, wandering around, that creates and strikes fear in communities. And District 1 is, we're getting a fair share of concern ratio with people who are wandering. And I don't know if it's illegal to wander, but there's fear of wanderers, people afraid of their children being out in the yard to play. And certainly that's not the community that we've fought for over the years. Sheriff, you did not mention a category of mental health, or what percentage of these people were qualified mental health designated recipients are in need of. I was hopeful that we could have gotten something definitive on that. But I hear your recommendation is that we continue the pilot, and I think the other definitive recommendation is that we identify ways to minimize landlord risk mitigation. That's not a lot. So I'm listening to other commissioners, Mr. Chairman. This is frustrating. I don't think that this report for me pulls that trigger, that the ordinances that we had mounted up, loaded up, and wanted to fire, the sheriff asked us to pull up. And today he's not come back and told us to go forward. So he wants to continue with that pilot, and I've respected Sheriff McNeil forever, and my respect for his request today is maintained.
Thank you, Commissioner Pryor. I too have no desire to move forward with any kind of ordinance yet, given the sheriff's recommendation and also the sheriff's information on our jail right now, our detention center not being able to necessarily take on those who are caught with defecation and other things like that. I think he asked for us to continue the host program, improve coordination with our nonprofits and others who deal with the unsheltered, as well as to identify how to market our landlord mitigation policies. And so I would like for us to move in that direction. That's the only thing I'd be willing to support too, as we move this conversation forward. Commissioner O'Keefe, followed by Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Sheriff McNeil.
Yes, sir.
Since I only have one bite at the apple, I'm going to start with my compliments and just end with two questions. First, I want to thank you and your deputies for taking this on. As you said, law enforcement is not ideally where we would place solving our homelessness crisis, and I'm sure that you nor none of your officers entered the law enforcement career thinking that you would be coordinating homeless outreach. That being said, it's not where we want to be, but clearly you're making progress, and I want to acknowledge that. And we met, and I was able to meet with your host deputies and hear from them. And one thing when I first heard about the program was I was nervous about is this population going to be able to, are you going to be able to earn the trust of this unhoused population coming from a law enforcement uniform background where they've had many repeat arrests? And from what I've heard, your officers have done an excellent job doing that, and I don't want to understate how difficult that must have been. I fully support your recommendations. And then I also want to just point out that as we learn, this is an extremely complicated thing that the sheriff and the host program does not fix alone. But it looks like, unfortunately for you and your deputies, but fortunate for us, you have found two deputies at least now who have become effective at taking what is a crisis interaction and trying to correct the situation long term instead of repeat arrest, and send back out. So thank you for that. The only two questions I'll leave you with, and if you need to get more info and come back, it is fine, is just does the Tallahassee Police Department work with your deputies in contacting the host deputies when they interact with unhoused folks? And then, do you have any estimate of the number of detention center stays avoided by these interactions during this time period, and an estimate, like an average budget cost per stay of the detention center? And that's all. And also, thank you.
Thank you. The first question is easy. Yes, we do coordinate with TPD, and as I said before, we try to make sure that our deputies that are here and engaged aren't the ones making those arrests because of the trust we need to build. The other piece is what I'm working on. I said to you that we don't have this completely done, and I've looked at some of those numbers, and quite honestly, they don't match. And until they match, I need to figure out. We're doing some assistant sheriffs are working on getting that done, and we'll bring that back to you in a report.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Minor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff, just want to thank you and your entire department for everything you're doing. In January, I walked with some Big Bend Continuum of Care volunteers and one of your host deputies and walked around downtown and spoke with some of the homeless that were there. And I saw the job that your deputies are doing. It's terrific. So I thank you. With my understanding of what the host program has done since the time you've implemented it, I would support continuing it too. I'm sure that my colleagues here are hearing almost every day about the homeless problem. I probably hear this as an issue from our community more than any other issue right now, every single day. And as you know also from reading the paper, we've had fatalities within our homeless community in recent months. It's a problem that needs to be addressed. We need to do something. During the pandemic, we invested $6.2 million from both the city and the county as a means to address homelessness in this community. What we did in late January with your deputy, sir, is conduct that point in time count with the Big Bend Continuum of Care, actually going through the entire county and the surrounding counties, but also meeting with each individual homeless person that we can find, interviewing them, conducting a survey of their demographics and their situation. That data was collected in late January. It should be ready in late March or April. I can have a motion right now to have that come back as a presentation from the Big Bend Continuum of Care when that data is ready. I can do that now or during the items for discussion.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded for presentation to come back for continuum of care.
Thank you. And I'll wrap up. It's important for us to see where that investment has gone, that $6.2 million. Where has that helped us? Where do we still have areas for improvement? I think some of that is obvious, but I want to see the data. And then we really need to get to brass tacks and address this problem. It's not getting better. And there's some tremendous resources being applied to it, both within the Sheriff's Office and the Big Bend Continuum of Care Network. But we need to see what we need to do because it's a problem that needs to be addressed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff, I want to thank you first and foremost for all your hard work and efforts in keeping our community safe. In today's time, it's no small feat, and I appreciate your dedication to Leon County. In follow-up to your presentation, I agree with you. In my opinion, I don't think we can solve homelessness solely with the host program, and I don't believe we can solve it in one commission meeting. I believe homelessness is a community-wide issue. I believe it's also a regional issue. I watch every day how this affects low-income households and the quality of life in the residents in my district, specifically on Pensacola Street and West Tennessee Street. I could argue further that this is the most visible in my district and comparatively to other districts in our community. I personally don't believe that I'm seeing the visible improvements that I would like to see, and I believe that this is an issue that is progressively getting worse and that we should focus our attention on it. I propose Commissioner Proctor and Commissioner Maddox that a compromise. I'm for carrying on the pilot program. But in addition, I would like to see a workshop come to the table. So we give the tools to the sheriff to move forward. But in the meantime, we come together as a community. We invite our nonprofits, our local community partners, law enforcement, and we start thinking about real solutions to this growing issue so that we can tackle it from a holistic, community-wide, and regional approach.
Thank you. Commissioner Meyer, would you accept, or actually, it kind of makes sense there with the sheriff's recommendations of the improvement of coordination as well as the identification of the market landlord mitigation, that maybe we do look at doing a workshop that involves that report that you asked to come back from Continuum Care as well as the partners. So would you be willing to change that motion to be a workshop looking at homelessness and including all of our partners and looking at how we implement the recommendations coming from the sheriff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Caban, that's a great idea. I'd proudly accept that as a friendly amendment.
All right, seconder? Second. All right, we're good on that. Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sheriff McNeil, I recall you came to us during a time when the commission was considering various ordinances to deal with the homeless issue. We have citizens that clearly are concerned. We're looking at health, safety, welfare of all citizens. At the same time, we also recognize that we need to balance the rights of our homeless people. We need to be sensitive. We need to be compassionate about the conditions of our homeless population. However, at that particular time, you came forth and you asked us to support your pilot program, to do what we wanted to do as far as the ordinance was concerned. But of course, we tabled that and we supported you. We supported the pilot. And I believe in the short 6-month period of time, you agreed to come back and give us a report. You've given us your statistics. And I think you're 2 dedicated officers in addition to your entire sheriff department has done a tremendous job in a short period of time. And I do support your recommendations as well, but I just wanted to ask you specifically, you recommended coordination with the faith-based communities. You recommended also coordination with nonprofits and other organizations in the community that address the plight of the homeless. Now, as far as that coordination, do you envision perhaps some requests for proposals or requests to negotiate so that funds would be on the table for these particular groups, faith-based and other organizations, to come together and provide some support to you or support to our homeless community so that we can try to clean up what is undesirable for many of the citizens in our area, in our county?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, the request that I would make as relates to those entities, churches and otherwise, goes along the course of trying to figure out, one, what are their capacities? What are the homeless persons, the unsheltered persons that they are actually engaged with? What does that look like? What's the volume? What's their capacity? Coupled with what's the capacity, what's the true number of persons out there? We dealt with 271 that we called unsheltered. What's the whole population look like? And then, and I suspect that this session that you're talking about, this retreat, would be able to coalesce around bringing those persons in and asking them what their needs are and that sort of thing. I have no idea. I've talked to I was at a church this past weekend, and they said they'd like to help. But I think, how do we get them engaged? So I think it's one of those basic questions of going out, finding who's out there doing what, and then trying to figure out what their needs are and what kind of resources can the county itself provide to those providers out there.
May I follow up?
Please.
Okay. And so, Mr. Sheriff, extending the pilot program really wouldn't get into those specifics during the next 6 months. Am I correct?
Well, over the next 6 months, we will continue to do the things we're doing. We'll continue to work with the downtown businesses, with the neighborhoods, in terms of trying to drive down the number of persons who are in our community homeless. But I don't think we have an idea of what the bed capacities are. Someone asked a question about mental health. That's a major piece. We didn't have it in there directly as relates to this because I've said to you over and over again, 45% or more of the people in our detention facility suffer some mental health issues. And the homeless people make up some of that population as well. So I think having a real, as I would say, come to Jesus discussion about these issues and come out with some sort of game plan.
So that's something that we could perhaps flush out if we have the workshop, bring in various interested parties together.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think we've already voted
Yes.
on that. Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. I just want to thank you and your team for all that you have done to address this issue, and we certainly want to continue to work with you and accept your recommendations at this point.
Well, thank you. And there are a bunch of them back here that are part of that team. They're sitting back here, and they're the ones that do the work. And there's Pack over there, and he's the one that's really out there making those contacts. So thank you, guys. Thank you, commissioners.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Welch?
Thank you.
Mr. Sheriff?
Mr. Sheriff,
Got one more.
don't forget about me.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I think that was in the song in the 1980s. Mr. Sheriff, thank you for being here. I appreciate the work that you and your deputies are doing and that your agency is doing. I want to lead off my comments by saying that I agree with you. This is not just a law enforcement problem. And the host program that we approved a year ago, I do think that your statistics indicate that it is working to some extent. I have not seen the report and those statistics in front of me, and it was a lot of statistics. A couple that stood out to me that concern me are of the several hundred interactions we had, only 7 individuals received permanent housing or semi-permanent housing out of those interactions. That is a big problem. 61%, I think I collected, are not from Tallahassee. Only 39% would consider themselves local. That is a big problem. We have got to be honest up here on this dais about the problem that we are dealing with and the existential nature of it for our community. Now, we had an ordinance last year that I understand the hesitancy to go forward with, which I was comfortable going forward with. It sounds like the host program is fulfilling essentially what that ordinance was asking or would have created, but we still have not standardized, we have not codified, we have not actually written down in stone what our intention is for the quality of life that we find acceptable in Leon County. And as Commissioner Minor mentioned, we still have homeless people dying on the streets, killing each other, getting run over by cars. It is a real problem, and it ripples through the entire community. And so my concern with what we're doing is that we are just, again, circling the wagon here. I've been here long enough that we've had a workshop with all the people, Commissioner Caban, and I asked the same questions that we're asking now, and I didn't get really good answers. What are some innovative things that are happening in other parts of the country? So I agree that we should have a workshop, Commissioner, and I know that I kind of asked us to get this presentation at the last meeting ahead of time, but I would encourage us as a board to come out with some actionable items from a workshop. We must do something. We cannot just keep going around and around saying we're going to do something or we need to do something. We have to act. I have some substantial concerns about panhandling specifically, which has become much worse over the last year since we first discussed the ordinance. And I'm afraid, I suspect that some of the panhandling we see is not really authentically homeless people. I feel like there are people being trafficked. I feel like these are organized schemes to defraud. We have people in cars and buses pulling up to intersections getting dropped off with vests on, like they're conducting legitimate charitable work, and then they're getting put back in these vans and taken God knows where. We need to figure out what's going on there. We need to get the people from STAC, and we need to get other people involved to figure out what is going on. In my district, it is prevalent, and it is real problematic. And I know that we have constitutional issues about who can ask for money in intersections, but I can tell you from personal experience, when people walk up to my window in a very busy intersection and stand 3 inches from my window and stare at me in an intimidating way because they want money, and there's nothing we can do about that, that is problematic. And they stay there when traffic moves. They only move to the median when the traffic sort of gets heavy and moving. Those are real problems. And so I feel like we need some level of tangible measure that we are making progress with this problem, because if we don't, it's going to continue to get worse, and it's going to go past the point of return. And it is not just law enforcement's problem. It really is a community problem. I'm encouraged to hear you say that the faith-based community wants to get involved. I think that could be a real key thing to move the needle. I think that we do need a comprehensive workshop. We need to look at the point-in-time counts that Commissioner Minor references. We need to know exactly what we're dealing with. I would love to see your report in hard copy so I can actually look at that data instead of listening to it, because it was a little hard to track. But I think it is unfair to make it a law enforcement problem. And I hear you on the ordinance, but we got to do something. If we're not going to make an ordinance, we got to do something. We've got to come up, we've either got to commit ourselves to funding more bed space. We've got to commit ourselves to being creative, create a campground somewhere, which I have mentioned multiple times. I think those are realistic investments that we can make. We've got to give ourselves a chance to, in some way, shape, or form, draw a line in the sand for what we consider an acceptable quality of life. It's not about punishing the homeless. It's not about criminalizing the homeless. It's about giving them an acceptable quality of life. You cannot sleep with your head on the sidewalk. You cannot defecate in public. You cannot stand in the intersections and solicit money. The great irony of the panhandling thing is, if it were the firemen, they'd have to have a permit. But these folks have no permit. They stand in the intersections and they panhandle, and people give them money, which is the reason they continue to stand in the intersections. So even as a community, we've got to have honest conversations about how we are contributing to the problem. We can't just put it all on the sheriff. I want to commend you, Sheriff, and your staff again. I think the host deputies are doing a great job. I know it's difficult. I know it's unfair. It's really on the people sitting up here to really put our foot in the ground and do something. So I think if we can start from that point, then a workshop is extremely suitable, but I don't want us to just keep kicking it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion on the floor made by Commissioner Minor, seconded by Commissioner O'Keefe for a workshop looking at the recommendations from the sheriff and inviting community partners, nonprofits, as well as the faith-based community to come to the table for the discussion. All those in favor of the motion on the floor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries without objection. We'll move now to, thank you, Mr. Sheriff. We'll move now to citizens to be heard on non-agenda item. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, that's it. Do we have any citizens?
We do, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. We have 3 speakers on citizens to be heard on non-agenda items. The first one, Mark Schlackman.
Reminder, Commissioners, there's no discussion, and that rule will be strict during this time, during this citizens to be heard on non-agenda items. Time, if you want to bring it up, you can bring it up during your commission time. Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mark Schlackman. I appear before the Commission today in my personal capacity. For context, I serve as Senior Program Director for Florida State University's Center for the Advancement of Human Rights, located at the College of Law. And as well, for purposes of transparency, I serve as the Sheriff's Chair of his Citizen Advisory Council. But again, I appear before you today in my personal capacity. Members of the Commission, Mr. Chairman, of course, Mr. Administrator, and counsel to the Commission. I've reached out to essentially all of you except the legal counsel at this point for preliminary kind of context. A resource that I'd like to simply draw to your attention today, because that's all 3 minutes will allow, is something that's not widely known, but it can resonate with essentially every single comment made today. It doesn't constrain the Commission. It could empower the Commission. Many of you are calling for best practices. Well, the former Chairman Proctor, the Commission interestingly passed the consent agenda, a resolution in April that recognized the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So in about a minute, let me tell you about one of the principal human rights treaties that arose out of the Universal Declaration and why it's relevant and could conceivably weigh in and help for purposes of best practices regarding these issues, but not limited to these issues. This is a treaty that was ratified by the United States, interestingly signed by President Jimmy Carter. The instrument of ratification was signed by President George H.W. Bush. Under the U.S. Constitution, it's accorded the weight of federal law. The treaty specifically says that it applies at the state and local level, a wide range of issues. It's geared toward best practices. Commissioner, you mentioned there are issues about what is or what is not criminalizing homelessness. This elevates beyond. It attempts to go surveying around the nation, and Commissioner Kaman, you mentioned it's a Tallahassee or perhaps a regional issue. It's actually an international issue. It transcends. It's clearly national and international. So there are efforts underway, don't have time to even mention one for an example, that can at least inform or attempt to inform the commission, the administrator, legal counsel as you go forward. And I think that meant that chime, either we're listening to Jeopardy or I'm out of time.
You got a little time. You got a little time.
Okay. So within the context, whatever you might think appropriate, I would like to make myself available to you individually, collectively, to the administrator, legal counsel. The routine assessment is that while there is discretion within certain applications of law to enact certain ordinances, they run counter to best practices. So again, the goal of this framework is to identify best practices. Mr. Chairman, I think that means I'm about to drop through the floor, right?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your comment. And we have that workshop coming up, so just, put that on your calendar.
Mr. Chairman, if possible, I've printed out something for each commissioner, the administrator,
if you're handing
legal
to-
counsel. This was actually a reference noted in the sheriff's strategic plan in support of host deputy, just for your edification.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Next speaker?
The next speaker, Carol Weiser.
Mr. Chairman, that trapdoor idea is kind of interesting.
Name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Thank you very much, commissioners, and the commission administrator Long. I am representing one of those faith-based communities that have been mentioned today. I'm representing the Compassion and Social Justice Committee of First Presbyterian Church here in Tallahassee, and the people who are homeless are our neighbors in that church. I wanted to just build on what Sheriff McNeil has said frequently. He has proposed a grassroots approach to dealing with problems around a plan. I think that's a terrific idea for the homeless. He also supports breaking down things and going into looking and seeing what other places have done, what other policies are out there. And we also support this as well. My group has spent about 3 years really looking at this homeless problem, and we'll attest to its complexity. But one of the things that we want to suggest that would build upon this idea that you have of a workshop would be a task force. Why not, this is what some areas have done, but set up a task force that is composed of not only providers, but also, as we've talked about, business community, communities of faith, but also you need the healthcare community here because there's a big healthcare component to homelessness as well. So you've got a whole wide swath of people who have some interest in this. So bring this task force together and ask them to come up with a plan. Okay? And we have short-term issues, so we've got short-term things that we can do, Commissioner Welch, in the short term, but we also have permanent housing that's not going to be solved by a workshop or by a year. So have this group say, okay, we want short-term and we want long-term issues, and we want you to come to us and we want you to involve yourself in this issue. And I would argue that the City Commission needs to be involved in this as well. This needs to be a broad effort of the community, of elected officials and people in the community. Academics, we've got universities here. They should be involved in this effort. They have a role to play, and they have a lot of students who can really help with these kinds of issues as well. So having such a broad group will give this issue the legitimacy and the opportunity for innovative thinking that this very tough issue deserves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
That concludes our speakers.
Information, is it not true that the Presbyterian churches, First Presbyterian, having a town hall meeting on homelessness Thursday?
I'm sorry, sir, what did you say?
Are you having a town hall meeting on homelessness on Thursday? First Faith Presbyterian?
I'm sorry, I still didn't understand what you said.
No, are you having a town hall meeting on Thursday?
Oh, yes, the town hall meeting on Thursday. I'm not aware of that.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any more speakers, Mr. Administrator? I believe you have one more speaker. Mr. Sims, please give your name and address for record, please, sir. You got 3 minutes.
My name is Stanley Sims. By the glory of God, I still live at 1320 Avondale Way. Homelessness. We see it every day. That's something that doesn't just hang off in the poor section. It hang off in our prominent homes. We see them. They're downtown. But here's what I love about talking to this municipality. Excuse my speech. I'm optimistic that even though this issue plagues our community, this municipality will handle it with dignity and sensitivity. See, every community can't say that, but every community faces this problem. I'm thankful that I've seen this. I've seen the Leon County Sheriff Department deal with this issue. He's taken the leadership on it. And so I am just, as a citizen who's known to point out something that I got an issue with, this is one I'm optimistic. Because one, I have a relationship with this municipality who accepts me for who I am. And if you can accept me for who I am, glory, the least of these, the ones that don't come up here with no polo shoes on that they got on sale out there at Dillard's. Boom shakalaka. But those that have worn the same clothes 3 or 4 days and suffer with mental illness. I tell everywhere I go, the sheriff is my cousin. We just spell our name last different, and he wouldn't get a gold in his mouth. But I'm thankful that we have an entity that deals with this issue with sensitivity.
Thank you, Mr. Sims.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka. Any other speakers?
That concludes our speakers.
All right. Any items pulled from the consent agenda?
There are none.
Motion for approval of consent. Consent has been moved by Commissioner Welch, seconded by Commissioner Caban. Any objection? Seeing none, show it is passed unanimously. We'll move now to the regular agenda, item number 24.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this item seeks your direction regarding the bid for unincorporated area curbside waste collection services. As I'll further explain in just a moment, the item presents 2 options for the board's consideration. One is to award the franchise to the lowest responsive bidder, which is Waste Pro. The other, option 2, is to reject all bids and authorize the county administrator to negotiate with Waste Pro to reduce commercial rates and mitigate any increase to residential rates. Commissioners, as you know, the county is seeking to award an exclusive franchise agreement for the collection of solid waste to approximately 30,000 residential and 400 commercial customers. As detailed in the item and discussed during our briefings, the county's current franchise agreement for curbside collection expires in September of this year. Last September of 22, the board approved the issuance of an invitation to bid for these services. At this time, we shared with the board that a sizable rate increase for residential customers was anticipated due to inflation, labor shortages, supply chain cost increases, and the fact that we had been under our current rate scenario for a period of time, many years in fact. Currently, Commissioners, the county's residential rates are disproportionately low, with customers paying about 75% less than residents in other counties throughout the state of Florida. To mitigate the anticipated cost increase to the greatest extent possible, the county commissioners, in anticipation and throughout this process, utilized a competitive bidding process. We reviewed industry best practices and collaborated with industry experts, resulting in modifications to the scope without reducing services. I rejected the initial bid solicitation when we received only one responsive bidder, so that we could foster additional competition. Commissioners, because of these efforts, we received 3 competitive bids that are before you today. As I mentioned, Waste Pro is the lowest bidder with a monthly residential rate of $23.17. The bid is an increase to the current rate. However, it is still below the state average, which is $26.38. Correspondingly, commercial customers will receive a substantial rate increase under the current bid. However, the commercial rates are higher than the market. To address the significant increase in commercial rates, the agenda item provides an alternative to awarding the Waste Pro bid tonight. As shown in option 2, the board could reject all bids and authorize the county administrator to negotiate with Waste Pro to reduce commercial rates and mitigate any increase to the residential rates. If option 2 is approved, I would immediately enter into negotiations with Waste Pro, and I'd bring back an agenda item at your next meeting with recommended rates for the board's consideration. Alternatively, if the board approves awarding the bid to Waste Pro tonight, which again is the low bid resulting from an already very comprehensive and competitive solicitation process, we'll immediately move forward with the transition plan per our franchise agreement. With that overview, Commissioners, again, happy to answer any questions you might have. We do have 3 speakers on this item, Mr. Chairman.
Speakers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First speaker, Lloyd Childry.
Name and address for the record, please, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Lloyd Childry. I'm the Director of Governmental Affairs for Waste Pro here in the coastal region. I've had the privilege of addressing this body on several occasions. You know, some of them great, some of them not so great. However, I've not had the opportunity to address this body with our 2 new commissioners. I look forward to working with you in the future. I just want to touch on a couple of things tonight. In 2020, I spoke to this body and were given the opportunity to service Leon County residents for an additional 3 years. Since then, the world experienced one of the most tragic events in modern history, COVID. As we depart from this time, here are the things that we're doing and have done to move forward. To overcome the loss of professional drivers, we have offered signing bonuses. We've increased our pay scale by 35%. More recently, we moved to hourly rate versus day rate. We are now one of the highest paying local professional driver employers in the market. As a result of that, we had several people in our pipeline looking to come to work for us now. Traditionally around here, day rate was something that it was normal for CDL drivers on our local routes. Now it's hourly, and now we're extremely competitive. And now the people are coming to us looking for jobs. We have experienced the most significant decline in pipeline activity in history. Computer chips, fuel, tires, hydraulic hoses, truck parts, and yes, even waste collection vehicles are hard to find. But what we've done to overcome that, we overorder parts now. We stock hard to find items, we shelve them. We're prepared, we're moving forward. In the fourth quarter of 21, we ordered several trucks. It's been a year now, and now we're starting to see those trucks. We've had 5 delivered here recently. 4 of those trucks were compressed natural gas trucks and 1 diesel. Over the last few months, in anticipation of this contract, we have also ordered additional vehicles. Those are in line to be delivered prior to the start date, should you choose us to move forward with. We are looking forward to continue servicing Leon County. We're very proud of our record here. Sure, you all get a lot of calls, but did you know that based on the number of calls that you get and based of us working with 30,000 plus people with over 370,000 touches a month, our success rate is still 95.5% plus. That's a pretty good success rate. Actually, this body recognized that the last time I approached you. We are looking forward to discussing at any level, moving forward with the county, and I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Next speaker, Robert Hires.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Magstack, commissioners, staff, city attorney, county administrator, thanks for your time. I've been here before, too. You can tell from the white hair. So we've been in the Panhandle. I helped start our original division here, helped put the plans in place to build our nice facility we have since 2006. But we are an American firm. We're headquartered in Florida. Our 2 closest competitors, one is FCC, Fomentos Construcciones Contagious. They're a Spanish company. The second largest nearest competitor was GFL. It's a Canadian company, just for your information. But we service over 300 municipal contracts throughout the country. Florida is our biggest headquartered event. We have over 135 counties and cities in Florida. 83% of our employees here in Tallahassee and Leon County are minorities. Of these minorities, 75% are African Americans. From our management team, there's 69% minority in our management team here in Leon County. I'd like to just introduce real quickly our operations manager, Major Eford. Been with us for many, many years. Fantastic gentleman, fantastic manager. Our route supervisor, Jermaine Hill. Key route supervisor, keeps everybody running, keeps them in place. Our office manager, Terry Lynn Lewis. Terry, thank you. And last but not least, our dispatch supervisor, Gian Lewis. Keeps the guys going on the route. We do have a couple of other things we do. We give $10,000 awards to our drivers that have 3 years of safety record. We've given over $7.5 million so far since we started our company 21 years ago. I think we have a cohort program we call it. We train drivers. It's so hard getting drivers. Every time you drive down the interstate, you go next to a tractor trailer truck. What's on the back of it? Drivers wanted. Back of every truck you pass. So we're training our own drivers. We're taking our helpers that are on the trucks and we're training them. We have our own GFL training center. Just one last thing, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. I know you're getting close to your time. We have a designated call center here in Leon County, separate from our state-of-the-art facility for administrative activities. We have a Google rating of 4.2 compared to our competitors at 3.5. The last thing I'm going to say is thank you for letting me have time to speak to you tonight. And I'm going to cut my time short, and I'm going to turn it over to our next speaker. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Next speaker.
Final speaker on this item, Tim Dolan.
Name and address for the record, please, sir. You have a minute.
My name is Tim Dolan, 2101 West State Road 434, Longwood, Florida. I'm the Vice President of Governmental Affairs for Waste Pro. Just to be brief, some of the benefits that we do have to offer. One thing is there's going to be no transition. We've got the same drivers, the same trucks, new trucks as were mentioned, but there'll be no disruption with routes or employees, so that's very important. Lloyd mentioned the equipment that's coming in, which is on schedule to be here, and trucks will continue to come in over the course of the summer. And the final thing, talk about the savings. We all go after the same work pool. We all go after we have to pay the same parts, the same trucks, everything else. The one difference that we had to offer is the infrastructure is already in place. We have a property, we have a building, we have staff. We service a number of contracts. We're able to spread our overhead. which resulted in a $1.578 million difference annually, excuse me, between us and the second place bidder. So that's of benefit to Leon County, and I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any more speakers? Thank you. Commissioners, I have a desire to go with option 2 myself, but I'm looking for a motion before we start discussion. Commissioner Welch?
I'll make a motion for option 2.
Option 2 has been moved by Commissioner Welch. Is there a second? Seconded by the Vice Chair. Commissioner Welch, you're in queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. I am concerned about the percentage increase in the rate, first and foremost. However, I think that our agenda item lays out very clearly that this is the lowest responsive bidder, that we are still in line with the state averages. So I just want folks out there in the community to know that. I think option 2 addresses a second concern of mine, which is the increase in the commercial rates, particularly the compactors at 116%. My folks out at Bannerman Crossings are not going to appreciate that. A bunch of small businesses trying to carry on out there. So I think that giving the county administrator the ability to try and negotiate that down a little bit more is a good move. I also want to say about Waste Pro, I know we've all had our share of concerns and issues, and certainly my district has that share of concerns, but I can also say this. I tell people this all the time when they complain about the trash service and the hiccups that were experienced, particularly in 2021. It's tough business. It's hard to find folks to work in that business, certainly with supply chain issues and inflationary costs and things like that. I think all of that contributed to it. I can say this about Waste Pro. When we have issues, we run them through the county administrator's office. They're very responsive. My constituents get serviced pretty quickly after any hiccups. I know that this contract is increasing the scope of services that Waste Pro is going to be providing for us in terms of boots on the ground, call center people locally, parts on availability. So with all of that information, and I want to also say that Lloyd Childry is an incredible professional who treats our office really well, and I want to say that to you, Lloyd. I think you do a great job. I know it's tough, and I know you get beat up on sometimes, but you represent Waste Pro well. I'm comfortable with this bid, and so I'll support option 2. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. Then we'll go to a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I have a question for County Administrator. When we talk about option 2 and you get to go negotiate, is there a risk by trying to negotiate for a lower commercial rate that there would be an offsetting increase in the residential rate?
We anticipate, thank you, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioners, let me be very clear about that. We will do the best we can, and we will bring this board back options there. But part of negotiating down that commercial rate will contemplate offsetting increases to the residential rate. But I think we all recognize that keeping that residential rate as low as absolutely possible will be what our course of action will be.
Thank you. Then I guess I'd like to talk about and advocate for actually going against this motion, option 1, before we vote. And in doing so, I want to point out Waste Pro in campaigning, Waste Pro is the only vendor that was a campaign issue. I knocked on doors and it was brought up that service was an issue. And I want to give credit to the staff for putting out a bid and realizing that we needed to do better, putting out another bid and making sure that we got the best offers we could get. And, we're seeing a large increase across residential and commercial. Even with that, Waste Pro is the lowest bidder, in some cases significantly. We don't have as much control as you would like when we use the private market to do government services. We don't run our own office, and so we have to rely on the bids we get and the companies we get. The county does incorporate fees and penalties that we recoup as penalties for poor service, and so there will be that. And while the people who spoke to me about this vendor probably don't want to keep Waste Pro, I think we have to consider this is the best cost option already, and we should be careful not to further increase cost to our residents. And for that reason, the commercial bid, even though it's higher, is still the lowest commercial bid of all the bids. And I don't think that we should continue this exercising procurement at a risk of any further increase to residents. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, sir. Briefly, Commissioner Caban, and then we're going to a vote.
Yes,
Turn your mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to offer my support for option 2. When I think about small businesses in our county, I think about a brand new restaurant in Woodville, Bajigio's. I think about Country Feed Store on Highway 20, businesses that already have struggling efforts against them being in the county where there's less population. Simple economics for me, if they face an 118% increase, they're then going to increase their cost of goods, which will just trickle down to our residents in the county. So I'm ready to support option 2.
Thanks.
Mr. Administrator, I'd just make sure you go fight on behalf of our residents, please. Thank you.
Option number 2 has been moved by Commissioner Welch, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. Madam Vice Chair, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We'll go now to item number 25, which is ratification of board actions taken on January 23rd, our annual retreat. Is there a motion for board, for staff recommendation of option number 1? Moved by Commissioner O'Keefe. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Welch. Any objection? Seeing none, show it is passed. We'll go now to item number 26, which is our appointment of the Animal Shelter Advisory Board. I believe we do have a speaker here for that specifically, Catherine Starker? Yeah. She would like to be a part of the Shelter Advisory Board? Yeah. Is there a motion to place her on the Shelter Advisory Board? Moved by Commissioner Welch, seconded by Commissioner O'Keefe. Congratulations, ma'am. Any objection? Seeing none, show it as approved. Do you still want to speak?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'll leave it quick.
Yes. We also have an appointment for the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. That would be Commissioner Porter from over at the city. Is there a motion and a second for that? Motion made by Vice Chair, seconded by Commissioner Cabana. Is there any objection? Showing none, we'll call it approved. We have a public hearing scheduled for 6 o'clock. I fear not try to get through commissioner discussion time, so we're going to go ahead and break right now and go straight to, all right, I'm going to try. All right, look, y'all see what time it is. I got to go. All right. Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commission time?
Yes.
First point of inquiry, that contract will come back before us with Waste Pro. Okay, very good. Got a request coming from the tow truck industry, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and an interest in revisiting the fee schedules for towing. It's been a few years since we've gone through that exercise, and I would like to request in response to the inquiry from the towing industry. That may have been that point of reference before. It might have been 2014, and if 14, 15, it's been a long time. But I would like to see us bring back an action plan for revising and meeting with the towing industry for contemporary standards, much like what Waste Pro is saying, that their standards need to be upped as well.
Motion made by Commissioner Proctor. Is there a second? Any objection? Show it approved. Anything else, Commissioner Proctor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request that we bring back the ordinance to look at 20 grams or less of marijuana possession in our county, that it be viewed as strictly purely as a misdemeanor, acknowledging the presence of 2 commissioners, which I think are poignant, and possibly altering the spirit of our board. And it's my hope that that our 2 new commissioners ought be given the chance to revisit, and I make a motion that we bring back the ordinance of 20.
Motion made by Commissioner Proctor. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner O'Keefe. Any objection? Seeing none, show it as approved.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. there's something about mental health that I believe that we've just got to get our fingers around. I just say that it's absolutely stunning that not only the homelessness issue is spiraling, but the mental health issue is spiraling. What the sheriff said today really is strange, because the tension and the pressure on expanding our local jail and building a new one is not coming primarily from criminal conduct and criminal activity, but what's putting the most pressure on our jail to expand it is homelessness. Homelessness places more pressure on this body, this commission, to expand more so than crime. And that's a powerful statement that we've never faced before. So to criminalize homelessness and all of those things, and I think what the sheriff said, there were 472 contacts, and of that 472, 47 led to arrest. That's a solid 10%. We can see which way the train is going to go. And I really did some numbers on that. You get that number times $100 a day in jail, that's $141,000 for those 47 arrests for 30 days. That's what we're looking at. That makes this, the economics of homelessness, that makes it really, and I appreciate all of your concerns, that we've got to do something. And hopefully our workshop will be beneficial. And then the young lady that mentioned a task force on homelessness, maybe that can come out of our workshop. I was impressed with her comments. And then finally, Madam Chair, a shout out to Shinkton Lammy. Shinkton has been instrumental, and we had people with $800 water bills in Woodville. And I know, Commissioner Caban, you got hit up with some of that too. But I want to just say that Shinkton has worked diligently to intervene and intercede. And Shinkton, I want to give you a shout out for those water bill situations that we had down in Woodville that you have been working with citizens. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. And the issues that you raised related to the homelessness and mental health issues, those will, you think, properly be raised when we have our workshop? Was that your position, Commissioner Proctor?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I will admit at one point, the request coming from Mr. Barber, I think you all received the Greater Frenchtown Officer and Resident Proposal, Marketing and Financing Plan, which is this document. And I'd like for us to, is this for us, our county to look at as well? Okay, I'd like to offer this, recommend that we bring this back as an agenda item.
Is there a motion?
My motion.
Is there a second? All those, or is there any opposition? Hearing none, it will be brought back as an agenda item. You have it, Mr. County Administrator, you understood? Thank you. Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask for a proclamation in recognition of Gary and Kim Anton's ownership of the Bradfordville Blues Club, which will be hopefully not closing, but perhaps transitioning. I don't know if you guys want to get together and invest. Perhaps we can just buy it. But yeah, I would like to ask for a proclamation for the Antons.
Thank you, Commissioner Welch. Is that your motion?
Yes, ma'am, that's the motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Commissioner Minor, are there any opposition? All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. It's passed.
So I also wanted to thank Heidi Wieland, Michelle Anderson, and Renee Fisher for organizing a community cleanup in Bradfordville this past weekend. On Saturday morning, it was frigid, but we picked up about 100 pounds of trash. And those three ladies from the Clarn Lakes area and Capital City Bank there in Bradfordville really did a good job organizing that. Also wanted to thank Ology Brewing for providing the coffee and hot cocoa, which was crucial. Wanted to congratulate Prime Meridian Bank on celebrating their 15 years in service in in Tallahassee. Their office is located right there on Timberlane Road. And I don't know if you guys could tell, but I had Cub Scout Pack 38 in here last week on like Thursday night, I think it was. And we turned on the microphones for them, and man, they just had at it up here on the dais and stuff. So, it was an interesting event. But I wanted to thank the Cub Scout Pack for coming out and letting me speak to them about local governments. That's all I got, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Welch. Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to talk about thinking ahead before some of our meetings later this year, where we have a chance to make changes to our land development code and in some cases our comprehensive plan. We are going to be discussing later today a rezoning issue, and we have received significant input from citizens, and we see this over and over again. So I'm talking overall. We see citizens, anytime we have to have a big zoning decision, they have to find out and they have to dig in and spend time and put in the short version, since we want to eat, is people wouldn't be here for hours and hours if they felt like we were listening to their concerns. And we see it over and over again. But our hands are a little tied, as we learn, when we make a land development code and then zoning changes come through. We have to follow that land development code as part of the judicial process. And so I just want to plant a seed that we move the cart back to before or after the horse. As we look at land development code changes, we ought to be making sure we get significant community input from these same neighbors before we make changes to the development code, to incorporate what they're looking for. That way, when a builder or someone wants to change a zoning, it's in the code, and we've already listened to the citizens, and it's already clear to the developers, it's clear to the neighborhoods, and we provide consistency, and we minimize some of the, not that we don't want to hear from people who want to advocate for themselves, but if we already build into the code what neighbors are looking for that makes more sense for our community, they don't have to spend their evenings here with us. And as good looking as we are, I don't think they want to if they don't have to. With that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Okay, so for clarification, Commissioner O'Keefe, are you recommending an amendment or addition? What are you?
I am making no motion. I'm just talking. We already have some workshops scheduled in joint meetings. I'm just announcing sort of a thought process.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Commissioner. Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Very quick, is Kevin Peters here? I have my glasses on. I think some people have already heard this, but earlier this month he was elected Vice President of the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association, FEPA. It has more than 600 members and is Florida's leading association of emergency managers. Just want to congratulate him. He's already been in leadership with FEPA before, so he's going to be continuing to provide his skills and experience to other emergency management personnel throughout the state. So just want to congratulate you, Kevin, on everything you're doing, both here locally and around the state. And then also last week, Lake Jackson had a prescribed burn. We had DEP, Florida State Parks, and Tall Timbers all work together in a partnership to have a prescribed burn for about more than 100 acres of some of the dry lake bed at Lake Jackson. And this is important because by doing so, we're promoting the regrowth of prairie lake grasses. We are fighting back on invasive species, which are running rampant and disturbing the ecosystem there. And by creating more of that lake bed through the prescribed burns, you're helping to promote more fish spawning when the waters come back. So just want to point that out. That's a big moment that DEP and the other partners have been planning for weeks. And then finally, there was one day when the conditions were right and the burn proceeded. So thanks to DEP and all the partners. And Madam Vice Chair, I'm finished.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I would like to request a proclamation to Steve Lewisberg. He is the manager of Ace Hardware in Woodville, and he has formed an amazing partnership with Woodville School of Agriculture program. The school currently has goats, chickens, quail. They're growing a garden. I was there last week, and the students asked me to immunize a goat. It was very hands-on. It was a cool experience. But Dr. Meir is the principal of Woodville, and Kenneth Edwards is the teacher of the agriculture program. We have school board member Jones sitting here, who's a supporter of the school as well. And so I think this is a great program. I love what it's doing with the kids, giving them a hands-on approach. And Ace Hardware has been giving them supplies for their program at cost, which I think is just a great partnership between the public and private sector. And so I'd like to request a proclamation for them.
Is there a second? Commissioner O'Keefe, is there any opposition? You got it.
Thank you. Additionally, I would like to give my accolades to David Pollard and his team at the Tallahassee International Airport. Last week, it was announced that JetBlue will now be serving our airport. I think that this is great for our community as it brings in another airliner to help with competitive rates and bring the cost down for folks in our community. Additionally, this creates another line of access for tourism and make Tallahassee a further destination. Lastly, I want to give a late birthday shout out to two of our own, County Administrator Vince Long and Commissioner Bill Proctor. I won't ask how old you guys turned, but happy birthday to you too.
Oh, birthday.
Yeah.
Is
And that's
today?
it, Madam Vice Chair. Last Wednesday.
Turn his mic off. Just turn it off.
Thank you, Commissioner Caban. And I wanted to, you took my thunder, I wanted to acknowledge school board member Darrell Jones. He's also the Assistant Director of the Office of Economic Vitality. He's with us today. So thank you, school board member Darrell Jones, for your presence here today. And I just wanted to announce, commissioners, that we will be having a community conversation with our state representative, Allison Tant, this Thursday at New Mount Zion AME Church. This Thursday afternoon, beginning at 6 o'clock, and it goes to 7:30. New Mount Zion AME is on Old Bainbridge Road. Reverend Elwood is the pastor. So we are asking citizens to come out. We want to hear from our citizens. We want to hear from community members. And this is probably just one of the first. I know there will be community conversations with Commissioner O'Keefe and some of the other commissioners later on down the road. But that's my announcement.
Madam Vice Chair, could you mention the date and location again?
Yes, this coming Thursday, February 23rd, from 6 to 7:30 at the New Mount Zion AME Church is on Old Bainbridge Road. And that will be Representative Allison Tant and myself will be hosting that community conversation.
Serving dinner early or afterwards? We'll be
At 6 o'clock, we probably won't be serving any hors d'oeuvres or dinner, Commissioner Proctor.
That's
I'm not sure.
unprecedented in
There might
District
be
1.
light refreshments. It might be light refreshments.
We never
But
go
thank
to
you,
an AME
Commissioner.
church and don't have something to eat. I'll tell you right now.
But thank you, commissioners, for your comments. Madam Attorney, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator.
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. At this point, we will adjourn until our public hearing at 6 o'clock. Thank you all.